Hi everyone, this is your first technical math video for week 2, day 1. I have the worksheets out here, so I'm going to give you guys a few moments to go get your worksheets for week 2, day 1. Before I tell you to pause this video while you get your stuff, I actually have 2 here. One was an exponent rules worksheet here. I'm going to try to hold this up. So at the top, again, it says week 2, day 1, the exponent rules, and then the corresponding worksheets. It says using exponents at the top. Again, it should say week 2, day 1 at the top. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and make sure that you have those worksheets and also a pencil to write with. Alright, well, welcome back. Hopefully you have everything that you need. If not, just, again, pause it and gather up what you need. So, I'm trying this out with my tablet. My pen for my tablet actually died. It takes a special battery, so I'm going to have to get one of those. But, I can use my finger to write. It's very similar to our classroom smartboard that I use quite often when teaching math. So we're going to review some rules of making exponents. So let's just start off with the example there that's on your rule sheet. So we have 7 to the 5th power is the example. Now we want to remember that this guy down here, I'm going to change the pen color because I can, is the base number. Is the base, and this little guy up top we call our exponents. Okay, so the exponent, even though it's a small number, it basically rules the big number. It tells the base, the big number, how many times you have to multiply that base number by. So when we write this out, it's telling us 7 to the 5th power, or meaning 7 is being multiplied by, I'm actually going to change back to black here. We have 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7. So we should have 5 sevens there. Then you would get your calculator. You can use a phone calculator if you have a calculator, or if you're on your computer or tablet, you can always Google one if you don't have one on there. But I'm going to grab my calculator, and we're going to do 7 to the 5th. Now, some calculators can do exponents. I was starting to teach you guys that in the classroom. But if you don't have that ability, it's okay. Just do 7 times 7 5 times. Just be careful. Make sure you don't overcount. So 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 times 7 is 16,807. Okay. So we have to remember, again, that exponent tells us how many times to multiply that base number, regardless of how big or small that is. Okay, I'm going to jump to the third example there on the worksheet. So let me erase this. And then we're going to go to the one with the ones. Sometimes ones trip people up. But you just have to think, I'm multiplying by 1. So 1 to the 3rd power. Again, my base is 1, so that means that's the number I'm multiplying by. And in this case, it's telling us to multiply 3 times. 1 times 1 times 1. So again, think multiplication. 1 times 1 is 1. That answer times that other one is still 1. A lot of people mess up with ones because they start counting. Be careful with that. Ones is a tricky number because you look at it, you think, oh, there's how many ones? It's not. The answer is always 1. Okay. So let's go over and look at our actual practice worksheet you guys have today. I'm going to do a couple of examples. Wrong enough feature there. I'm going to use the eraser. going to do a couple examples on that. So you have some multiplying products at the top there. So let's look at one of those, because sometimes, we don't do multiplication long-handed, and I want you guys to still show your work when you're doing these assignments. Try to show me as much work as possible so I know that you're understanding it, because this is really important for you to understand the basics, and multiplication is one of the basics. So I know all you guys have multiplication tables. Unfortunately, they're back at school. But if you, have a notebook, a lot of times a notebook on the back of it has a multiplication table. A lot of those marbled composition ones, like the black and white, sometimes the red and white, you'll have it on there. If not, just go to good old Google and look up a multiplication table. If you have a printing capability, print one out. If not, keep it handy if you can download it or something to your computer, or take a screenshot of it. So then you have it. So this is the first example on your worksheet here. 28 times 6. So when we're multiplying, you want to ask yourself, what is 8 times 6? Well, 8 times 6 is 48. Okay, so we want to put down the 8, and we're going to carry up that 4. Okay, so that 4 is just going to hold up there. So then we have 6 times 12. I'm sorry, 6 times 2 is 12. Step ahead of myself. See, I do the same thing in the classroom, guys. Nothing much different here. So 6 times 2 is 12. You add that 4 on there, so it's going to be 16. Okay, so my answer to that first one is 168. All right, so you may be thinking, oh, I got that. That's a no-brainer. I want to do one of the ones with a multiplying 2-digit by 2-digit. Again, just so you guys can see it. If you know it, fantastic. You can continue working on your worksheet. All right, so let me erase that out. And let's get our next one up. I want to jump down to number 4. 15 times 14. So I'm going to start the process off as I did with the last one. I want to start with multiplying by that 4. Okay, so the 4 times the 5 is going to be 20. Put my 0 down, carry my 2. 4 times 1, 4 plus that 2 is 6. Okay, so that's just multiplying the 4 by everything. But I'm not done, because I still have the tens place to do it. I still have that 1 in front of the 14. So what I like to do is, so I know I use that 2, cross it out. Okay? Let me go back to my black. Now, we have a little indentation here. I always learn to put a 0. Some people do the X. Some people just leave it blank and move over. But I always like the 0. That's how I learned it. So now I'm going to continue multiplying the 1 times the 5. 5. The 1 times the 1. 1. I didn't have anything to carry, so it was just straight up multiplication. Now I'm going to add these two together. We have our 0. Our 6 plus our 5 is 11. Carry my 1. Whoops. Sorry. Carry the 1. My finger doesn't want to work. There we go. 1 plus 1 is our 2. So our answer to number 4 is 210. So there you have all the work with the answer. Okay, so our next part here is using the exponents, how we write it. Now, just like the beginning lesson, okay, we are going to use how many of that number there are there. So let's look at number 1 under part B of using exponents. It says 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. So I know, because that 2 is repeated, that's my base. So my big number, my base, is going to be 2. And then how many times, you ask yourself, does 2 show? Well, it shows 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So it'd be 2 to the 4th power. Okay? So that's all you have to do on part B. You just have to write what it is using the exponents. You do not have to solve part B. Okay? And then the bottom part, you have some word problems, okay? I'll read them out to you. So sometimes if you have a person read them to you, as I do in class with some of you, sometimes that helps. So you're going to solve the problems. Again, show me your work. And by showing work, remember what I tell you guys with word problems. Just telling me the setup of the problem is important. Okay, that is showing me your work. Number 1 says, a music shop has a case to display compact discs. They're just CDs, compact discs. The case has 15 sections. In each section can hold 18 CDs. How many CDs can this case display? So we want to find the total amount of CDs that display case can hold. If there's 15 sections and each section can hold 15. So think about your key words that we were learning about in math. Would I use multiply, divide, add, or subtract? Okay. Number 2, if you need to put the video on pause to do number 1, that is completely fine. I'm going to go ahead and read number 2. An office manager ordered 12 boxes of pencils. Each box contained 10 packages of pencils. Each package contained 5 pencils. How many pencils did the office manager order? So again, you have to think, am I multiplying? Am I dividing? Am I adding? Or am I subtracting? Okay, just try and think of the key words and think about what the rest of the worksheet was focused on. Okay, what math it was focused on. That should be a big hint right there for you for those 2 word problems. All right, guys, so before I run out of time with my video allowance here, if you guys have any questions at all, I'll be making some phone calls today. Today is Wednesday, so if you're watching this on a Wednesday, I will be making phone calls out to my homeroom. But please know, if you have any questions, you can either leave them down in the comments or do not hesitate to email me. And I will either call you if we need to walk this through anything further. I hope you guys have a really good day, and I hope everyone is staying safe. Miss you guys a bunch. And I hope this video was helpful for you.